Welcome to Contact Has Begun, brought to you by the grace of the World Puja Network, one of the last vestiges of truth concerning benevolent, spiritually and technologically advanced off-world visitors. Some refer to these visitors as our greater family of man or returning ancient ancestors. I am James Gillen, your host, and our guests also include cutting-edge physicists, authors, teachers, and healers dedicated to the awakening and healing of humanity and the earth. Let the journey begin. All right, this is James Gillen with World Puja. Welcome to the show. We've got another great show, and also, too, I want to remind people that check into the World Healing Meditation on the website. We're doing a 7-day intensive, 7 days in a row, as initiated by our Pleiadian contacts, and that's on the website. So be sure and check that out. You can listen to these meditations, play them, and do them whenever you feel you want to get involved in this world healing process. Speaking of this process, I want to welcome Dr. Salla on the show, Michael Salla with exopolitics.org, and he's been one at the forefront of, getting information out and bringing in incredible speakers that are all aimed towards the awakening healing process. And he has the Earth Transformational Conference. We'll ask him more about that coming up here real soon in December 29th, I believe. And I will be speaking there along with some other amazing guests. So it's going to be quite a conference, and be sure and check that out. His website is exopolitics.org, O-R-G, not .com. So be sure and check that out and see what's happening in your neighborhood. But anyway, without any further ado, I want to welcome Michael on the show. Michael, are you with us?
Sure am, James. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, it's always great to have you on the show. There's a couple things I wanted to get into right away. I've been following this WikiLeaks situation, and it's quite interesting, the turn of the events and where people are jumping on different sides of the fences and everything else. And I'd love to hear your take on what's happening, especially when I guess they're about to release some major info on UFOs that have been held back from the people.
Well, that's right, James. As I'm sure many of your listeners know, WikiLeaks has been releasing classified documents for a number of years now, and it's dealt with mainly up until the present moment, mainly with kind of war crimes, war incidents, leaked documents from the Pentagon, and about the Afghan war, the Iraqi war. And what's different this time around is that they've released files from the State Department. And while a lot of the information they released concerning the Pentagon kind of got a lot of sensational coverage, these leaks from the State Department seem to have kind of really enraged the U.S. political system for reasons that aren't quite clear when you look at it from the surface, because why would releasing classified State Department documents be any more onerous or a problem than releasing classified Pentagon documents concerning the Iraq and the Afghan wars? But it seems that the release of these diplomatic cables has really provoked an incredible backlash against WikiLeaks and against Julian Assange. I mean, as I'm sure you and your listeners are aware of, major companies like Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, even Amazon.com have all removed any kind of resources that they had made available for WikiLeaks, making it much more difficult for WikiLeaks to just have a web presence, to be able to solicit funds to do their work. So it seems that there's something in these diplomatic cables that is really alarming people, because so far, out of a total of 250,000 cables that they have, only just over 1,000 have been released. So that means there's more than 249,000 cables to come out. And amongst those cables, there must be some that really, I think, must worry people in the political system. And that's where I think the UFO information becomes very interesting.
Yeah, it seems that, we've all been waiting for the government to finally admit that that the UFOs are here, and the exopolitics movement has been very strong in that arena. And now it seems like they've already admitted they're here, and it's going to be leaked out all over the mainstream press.
I think this was one of the big concerns always with a cover-up, is that, with the cover-up system, I mean, they can deal with it in a number of ways in terms of, gradual leaks, acclimation, that sort of thing, having popular movies like V or The Event, where people are presented the possibility of extraterrestrial life visiting us in a kind of fictional way, so people can get psychologically comfortable with the idea, even though at a rational level there's no real, the government can say there's no evidence that, the extraterrestrial life exists. But, that was kind of part of, I think, of a kind of gradual acclimation process of kind of disclosing little bits of information that would help people prepare psychologically for this. But the nightmare scenario was always going to be a kind of catastrophic collapse of the secrecy system. And I think that's really the problem or the danger that WikiLeaks poses for the kind of the controllers, is that with WikiLeaks you can actually have a catastrophic collapse, so that rather than having this kind of really micromanaged, kind of piecemeal release of information that kind of results in people being gradually prepared for extraterrestrial life, you have a catastrophic release, such as like the State Department's sensitive information concerning UFOs and extraterrestrial life kind of gets just released like that, dumped into the public sector without being massaged or spun in any particular way. And for the controllers, this represents a nightmare, because what it will result in, if the State Department cables actually go into any depth into what has been secretly happening with concern to UFOs, it'll result in a catastrophic collapse of the secrecy system concerning extraterrestrial life.
Yeah, it might show them participating in some events that were very detrimental to people in the UFO community, and it won't be looking good for them, because I know in the past they've done some real severe measures to quiet people and actually even use the military in certain events and other agencies. And boy, if that all surfaces, people are going to see that there was some very severe acts done on people, extreme bridges of their rights, and on and on and on.
Exactly. It'll just expose all of the abuses, and most importantly, it'll expose the gigantic abuse of the trust of the American people and people around the planet, but especially Americans, who really have placed a lot of trust in government, and that trust has been abused in a massive way.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, on every level, we're now seeing basically that, the major corporations are running things, and they pretty much own the press and everything else. But it seems even the press has started to revolt, because they're seeing the handwriting on the wall, and there's a lot of breakaway people within the press. They're saying, well, wait a second, I'm not going to go along with the show here. And what I thought was just beyond ridiculous is, why are they going after this guy when all the other big press agencies have been doing the same thing and printing the same material?
Exactly. I mean, it's a real concern, I think, that what will happen is that people who are professionals in their particular sector, when they see that there's truth to this UFO cover-up, then the system collapses, because the only way in which you can maintain a secrecy system like this so many years is to make sure that professionals, those that occupy high positions or senior management positions in, whether it's the State Department or any government bureaucracy or corporation, that these people believe there's nothing to it. In other words, you've got to pull the wool over the eyes of a lot of very senior professional people, like Stephen Greer and others have pointed out that even generals are out of the loop, even admirals are out of the loop on this issue. So it's not simply a matter of, the government or the military and major corporations, hiding this from the people. It's like there's a control group that draws senior personnel from all of these different levels and branches of government, but keep the majority of law-abiding, constitutionally minded citizens or bureaucrats or military people in the dark. So the real danger for the system has always been not that the common man learns about this, because really the system doesn't fear the common man very much, but it fears the professional elite, who learn that the wool's been pulled over their eyes for so many years, and once they rebel, the system collapses.
Mm-hmm. It definitely seems to be going in that direction, and they're going to have so many fires, they just aren't going to be able to put these out. And some big key people are starting to come forward and talk about this. And I've always felt this as part of a bigger process of some people call it the apocalypse. The Great Uncovering is the real name for the apocalypse, and we seem to be in that phase right now where everything is surfacing and everybody is being known for who they are and what they've been doing, and all the behind-the-scenes selling out of humanity and the earth, and just for power and wealth and things of that nature. So this is all coming to the surface, and I just kind of feel like WikiLeaks is part of that, but there might be even a bigger agenda behind it.
Oh, you're right, James. It's the beginning of this kind of unveiling of the secrets that the system has for centuries really been based on secrecy, where information has been withheld from the commoners or people without power. And now what we're seeing in WikiLeaks, I think, is just the tip of the spear of this great unveiling, this transparency where all the secrets come out, and that's going to be really something that's going to transform our planet in a fundamental way, when all the secrets are leaked, and that people can't keep secrets anymore, or that, or at least governments and militaries and corporations can't keep secrets anymore, because you have organizations like WikiLeaks that will publicize the secrets. And I think this is part of a bigger process, as you said, of us moving towards some kind of transition, an age of transition, apocalypse, or the age of ascension, or the Aquarius, or whatever you call it. But it's like this process that we are seeing now with WikiLeaks is part of that unveiling, where everything becomes open, and that the new world that we will be moving into will be one based on openness, where there are no secrets. Mm-hmm. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I know that we were kind of promised this age of transparency and to have a more transparent government, and we kind of didn't get it this time around. So it seems like it's going to come, one way or the other. Now, there's another group out there. There's two rules of thumb or thought or whatever, and some people are saying that this is just a big, like a MK Ultra program or something like that, to be able to shut down and control the net, because they're going to say, well, we can't allow all these secrets to come out, and so in the interest of national security, we're just going to totally shut down and control the Internet.
Well, I think there's always going to be different factions trying to kind of seize any kind of development internationally to promote their agenda. And I have no doubt that, people like Alex Jones and Wayne Madsen and that category of, conspiracy theorists who do see WikiLeaks as possibly being part of this kind of false flag, 9/11 kind of internet seizure agenda. And certainly I think there probably have been plans, well-orchestrated plans, to do precisely that. But I think what happens when something like WikiLeaks comes along is that it kind of like it releases this information, provoking the inevitable backlash from conservatives and national security folks. But the system hasn't yet been developed enough to be able to really move forward in censoring the Internet. And we're seeing that now with what's been happening with WikiLeaks. I mean, they've been trying to shut it down, and it just keeps popping up all over the place. And you have now over 1,000 mirror sites, so that you can't shut WikiLeaks down. So whatever was in the pipeline, I think what's happened is that WikiLeaks has kind of like really shown that any sensitive information that is of interest or is of great public interest, and that the authorities try to shut down, that there are a lot of civil society organizations out there that will make sure that the information